American?
I'm an American. This is America.
I bleed red, white, and blue.
We're American.
I'm proud to be an American. I'm an American.
I'm a great American.
Castrol GTX presents WCW Great American Bash. Sunday, June 13th, live on Direct Ticket.
That commercial was better this entire show.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that, but welcome to the new show I've decided to start called Spear from the Past. Like, this is something I decided to do because I paid for WWE Network. I only really use it to watch the PLEs. Like, you know, I'll do an excuse to watch other shows on it as well.
Yeah.
So I've got all the pay-per-views on a reel, and this one just happened to be the first one to spin, which I didn't know much about until I looked it up. I was like, yeah, people don't see this as a good one, but I've got Austin here. Austin, how's it going?
It must be, you must have asked me because you know of my morbid fascination with late era WCW from like 99 to, you know, the end of the run in 2001 and how like morbidly curious and fascinated I am by it, despite how much of a train wreck it is. So yes, no, I'm the perfect guy to talk about this because I love train wreck wrestling. But yeah, we're not in the Russo era yet, but you know, it's still bad.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one of those ones that I haven't quite planned out how I'm going to structure this, so I'm just going to do it like go each match at a time. Or in this case, there'll be some backstage segments to talk about as well. So when it opened, like the first backstage segment was Kurt Hennig insulting Master P and the No Limit Soldiers, was just like making think. Because I kind of thought this backstage segment was kind of badly too. Like, it was entertaining, but as like, I don't think it was that great. But what do you think?
No, well, this was the debut of Master P and the No Limit Soldiers. This was their WCW debut. It's Master P and his entourage, including a guy named Swole, who is the one who would interfere later. We'll get to that. But who was paid, by the way, Malcolm, $400,000, and he wrestled 3 matches. Did I mention? I should mention right off the top. WCW in 1999, Malcolm lost $62 million. So there's 400,000 of that dollars right there. No, it's like Kurt Hennig. This is around the time, if anybody remembers, the Rap is Crap and the I Hate Rap West Texas Rednecks thing. We'll get into it. But yeah, he acts like he's gonna ask him for an autograph. He gets an autograph CD, he breaks it and stomps on it, and then the other guys immediately go, "What's up, dog? You want to beat down? And then we cut away, and that was what killed this gimmick, Malcolm. It wasn't so much that it was Master P and his entourage; it was that in the subsequent Nitros, they just went around on the microphone, just going, and the crowd turned on it almost immediately.
Yeah, but after that this happened, like we start the show officially starts. The first match was that was on the card was Hack, who I think is the Sandman.
That's the Sandman. Yeah, this is his brief WCW run as hardcore Hack, because they immediately had to make him into a geek and call him Hack because of the stupid names they gave people. Yes.
Yeah. And then he was up against Brian Knobbs, who was one half the Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys. Yeah. This is Brian Knobbs' singles run in 1999. If you remember that, which was not good. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, this is match was like the first thing that stood out to me was like it was announced as a kendo stick match, but they only used it once. It's like, like Brian Knobbs does this whole thing at the start, like, you know what? Let's just do it with our fists, and just throw away the ribbons, which was obvious was going to be a ruse in the at the end. And then at the end of the match, the rest of the faction come in and beat down Hack. Is like, what are your thoughts about this match?
Dude, okay, the first thing right off the bat, I don't know who the heel or the face is, and let me give some context. The previous Nitro, which I went back and listened to I listened to Brian Vinny a lot. They went through the whole run of, you know, retro Nitros and Raws and all that. Eric Bischoff was scolding Hack for smoking in the ring. And he was portrayed, Eric Bischoff was portrayed as the babyface and Hack as the heel who was defying authority, like a certain other guy on the other company around this time. But yet in this company, he was portrayed as the heel. Brian Knobbs then comes out here and he's immediately berating the crowd. Shut up. You all suck. Blah, blah. Like just immediately berating the crowd. So I don't know who I'm supposed to cheer for in this match. Now, I'll give you that the crowd got into it, but it was literally just them hitting each other with stuff. It was like Knobbs would hit him with a trash can. Sandman would hit him with a trash can lid. They would hit one guy with a ladder. Then the other guy would get hit with the ladder. Then one guy would get hit with the stick. Then the other guy get hit with the stick. And it was just back and forth, back and forth. It was like every WCW hardcore match you ever saw. Point of order. The referee at one point starts doing a double down count, which I wondered why the hell he was doing that in a hardcore match. There's no countouts. Well, then again, this is the same company that November of this year would count out Bam Bam Bigelow of a hardcore match. That really happened on it. It just ends with, I guess, Knobbs running his own head into the chair. Sandman whacks him with a cane. Gets the 3 count. Then right after the pinfall, Hugh Morris comes out and beats up Sandman because in this company, every single match, if somebody won, they immediately had to get their ass kicked by somebody, which was everything they did in every match. And if he was there, why wasn't he just out there the whole time and help Knobbs win this match instead of he comes in right afterwards and just beats him up? It's stupid. It's really, really stupid.
Yeah. But moving on, we get another backstage segment of Buff Bagwell talking to Piper, thing the opportunity to face Disco Inferno, which I looked up someone's review for that says it was supposed to be this disingenuous thing because apparently Buff didn't want to face Disco again. He wanted to actually face actual competitors.
And he thinks he's got this little thing with Piper going where he thinks Piper's gonna make him a star once he becomes the president in his match with Flair. It's this whole thing about giving him the ball. It's this whole theme through the thing about giving him the ball.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get more into that part later on.
Yes.
But moving on, there's this match between Van Hammer and Mikey Whipwreck, which was this random match. Because when I was looking this up, someone pointed out, Mikey Whipwreck was not on any of the weekly shows leading up to this match. It was just this random match thrown onto this card because why not?
No, Mikey Whipwreck got signed. Again, another guy from ECW that got signed. He had 3 matches. One of the matches he had on pay-per-view, I think it was at either the previous pay-per-view or the one before that, was really good. I think it was at the Spring Stampede pay-per-view. So much so that he got scolded for having a really good match and nearly stealing the show by Kevin Nash. So they immediately downgraded him into random jobber. And this match was basically a 10-minute squash match. Van Hammer just beat him and 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 beat him in a really boring manner, by the way. Hammer sucks. I drafted him on our WrestleCrap draft recently over on the Lonely Marks podcast. He stinks. He's never been good. He's boring. He's a big, tall, strong guy, but he has no charisma. He's just stupid, boring. He had one good spot here where he did a suspended superplex, where we actually held Mikey up for a little bit. Yeah. That was the one decent spot on this thing, but it went way too long. It was 10 minutes. He just beat him and beat him and beat him and beat him, and then just beat him up and pinned him. It was just nothing. There was no reason for this to be on pay-per-view. This should have been on WCW Saturday Night. It was horrible.
Oh yeah. No, it's one of those ones you can even tell the fans were just not in, there was really no reaction at all. It was
yeah.
All right, as a lot of people like to call it, it's the bathroom break match.
100%, yeah.
But next up, we've got Buff Bagwell defeating Disco Inferno. For some reason I didn't put any notes on this one, but this was a somewhat fine match, but there really wasn't anything major happening in this. But
well, that's because this was this match was Wrestling 101. It was Buff is the good guy, Disco's the bad guy. They do the most basic good guy bad guy match you ever saw, where Disco gets the heat on him, Buff makes the comeback, they tease the Blockbuster a couple of times, he finally gets in and gets the win. Buff Bagwell was never the same after he came back from his broken neck. like that he got in late 1998. If you go back and watch, and I'm watching a little bit of 1997 right now, actually, you go back and watch Buff Bagwell in like 97, 98, he's awesome. He is so good. He's so charismatic, but he's also a bad guy, and he's great. Like either being a singles guy or with Vicious and Delicious with him and Scott Norton, he would come out and his whole thing would be like he'd be so proud of himself, just everything he did. He's so proud, and everything he would do, he would hip toss a guy, pose. He'd body slam a guy, pose. He'd drop kick a guy, pose. And every time he'd go, wow, did you see that drop kick? That was amazing. And he can't do that now because he's a babyface, and he's a boring babyface now. He's way better as a heel, and he just isn't the same since he came back from his neck injury. And like both these guys are good workers, but like just this match again, there's just nothing happening. It's just the most basic thing. Like nobody cared. It just happened. It came and went. You know?
Yeah. But moving on, we had now I'm not sure if this was the name of the tag team, but this is what they were called. But the No Limit Soldiers, which was Conan and Rey Mysterio Jr. up against the West Texas Rednecks, which was Kurt Hennig and Bobby Duncan Jr. I'm going to say like the Rapper's Crap song that the Rednecks came out to, it was really catchy.
It's really catchy, yeah. I hate rap. no, their song is amazing. And if you go and look at their music videos, they did a couple of different videos. They're all great. It's all Kurt Hennig and Bobby Duncan like playing instruments and just singing badly. It's amazing. This is a great gimmick that they unfortunately squander like 2 months later. Like they just do nothing with it, and it disappears. Like it pretty much disappears once the Master P thing like goes away as well. And so it's weird. But Conan and Ray, like they just sort of say they're with the No Limit Soldiers. We never see them getting permission or interacting with Master P at all. They just like, because I guess they're Hispanic and I don't know, they like rap, I guess. You know, they come out to rap music, so we're with you. They come out in gas masks, which is like weird. I've never understood the gas mask thing because Rey Mysterio is not exactly intimidating, even with a gas mask on. He's 5'3", 120 pounds. Like, not exactly the most intimidating dude. This is a good tag match. It was decent for what it was. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, the other big thing that like I was shocked by when I saw this is to see a non-masked Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
This is one of those. I was like, I always thought like he always wrestled with a mask on, like because I've seen pictures of him in other WCW events where he was like the purple mask suit thing. Was like, so I don't know if he was like he was always like.
No, this was after Kevin Nash beat him in a mask versus hair match on pay-per-view, unmasked him, and then pretty much till the end of his run, he was just an unmasked Rey Mysterio. He was with the Filthy Animals. They did a couple little gimmicks here and there. But yeah, if you ever want to see Rey Mysterio unmasked, go watch Rey Mysterio from 1999 on in WCW, and he's unmasked. He's wearing denim overalls. Just it's weird. But here's the thing: they did 2 spots in this match that they would then repeat in the tag match later. That like bugged me because they not only did a double heat, double hot tag spot, where they beat down one guy, he does a hot tag, and beat down the other guy for a while and does another hot tag, but they also did the spot where like the ref missed the tag, like for the baby faces, and they did that spot later in the second match, which bugged me because I just I didn't understand why you would do the exact same spot twice. This was okay. But like, Kurt Hennig's having fun and I like him. He's 2-stepping and, just being goofy redneck guy. Ray, they just killed Ray in this match. Like every time they got him in there, they're just slamming him all over the place and just beating him up. But like, I mean, it was, this is where, what Swole interfered, right? For, one of many interferences on the show. Swole interferes. And
Barry Windham also.
Barry Windham interferes afterwards. Ray is able to get the thing. But I mean, it's the same thing where they win, but then they get their butts kicked afterwards. It's the same old story, like every single one of these things. But it's just same old. but it wasn't horrible.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking of this whole match. Like a lot of these matches, like have the same kind of templates. Like if interference happens. Match ends in ZQ. It's like the hot tag. Like,
Oh yeah.
But next up we've got Ernest Miller with his manager Sonny Uno, I think I pronounced that right,
Sonny Ono.
up against Hulk Hogan's nephew Horace Hogan, um,
Dude,
which apparently is supposed to be facing Scott Norton. He doesn't come out. I don't think they ever addressed why he's not.
they never address on this show why, and I don't even think they address it on the following Nitro because Cat and Scott Norton had a match on the previous Nitro, and then it was supposed to be like a rematch, and then they never really address it. The announcers are confused; they have no idea what's going on. Horace comes out. The crowd doesn't care. Like they immediately just the air gets sucked out. It doesn't care. He gets on the mic and goes, hey, Ernest Miller. Hey, Ernest Miller. And he just calls him his full name the whole time instead of just calling him the Cat. And then again, I asked the question, Malcolm. If Jacob Barber were here, you know my question is, who is the face and who is the heel in this matchup? Because Horace, during the match, is acting like a total bad guy. Cat, before every single one of his matches, Malcolm, whether he was babyface or heel, would always get on the microphone and run down the crowd. Hey, oh, yo, shut up while I'm talking to you. Hey, don't make me put on my karate gi and come out there and whip all your asses. Like, that's what he would do every match. So it's essentially heel versus heel. I have no idea what's going on. Sonny Ono is interfering left and right, as with all these other things, just constant interference. Cat does a low blow right in front of the referee. It's not a DQ. Crowd's chanting boring 3 minutes in because Horace is boring. And then, he started doing a gimmick here where he has a loaded dancing shoe. If you didn't know what that was, he ended up having a dancing shoe gimmick, and they kind of started to explain that on the next Nitro, that it's like loaded with stuff in the heel. So when he puts on the shoe and super kicks Horace, it's a loaded shoe, Malcolm. Does that intrigue you to keep watching or no?
I mean, I'll probably get to another one of the WCW at some stage. But did the crowd know that Horace Hogan's related to Hulk? Was it just kind of assumed?
I think it was like later reveal. I don't think at first they knew because he just kind of floated around as part of the B team for a little while, the NWO B team.
Yeah,
and then later in 2000 they start billing him as Horace Hogan when he does some tag matches with Hulk. But yeah, like I don't know if it was like widely known to the general audience. But I mean, you can see it in his face. But he zero of the charisma that Hulk does. He's again just really boring, and he's not very good.
Yeah. But next up we've got Ric Flair versus Roddy Piper. Ric Flair won the match by DQ. This was a match because there just seemed to be a lot of shenanigans happening, like a lot of interferences all the way through. Like Buff then interferes, which causes the DQ. And then the other thing then after the match is where I get confused because they were fighting for presidency, but then Piper and Flair team up to attack Buff.
It makes and don't try to make sense of it because they don't even make sense of it on the next Nitro either, Malcolm. Like it makes zero sense. They're just out of their minds. And the finish doesn't make any sense. The match itself is like it's just the two guys doing their greatest hits for like 5 minutes. It's Flair is Flair's doing his Flair flops. He chops a little bit. Piper's punching him. They're eye poking each other. They're doing the top rope thing where he gets tossed off the top. Like they're really doing every spot you've ever seen with Flair and Piper. But then the finish makes no sense because Buff runs out and clocks Flair, which disqualifies Piper, letting Flair win and then win the presidency, even though he wanted Piper to be the president. And then afterwards, Flair and Piper just team up and beat the hell out of Buff. Why? Yeah. I don't understand. Because you know why, Malcolm? Because in 1999 and 2000, we just did swerves to do swerves. And we just want to swerve you all the time, Malcolm, so you never know what the hell's going on. That's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading, in a review, because apparently, earlier on in Nitro, David Flair turns on Ric Flair, which doesn't happen encounter anything in this match.
No, nothing makes sense. So don't try to make sense of it. It doesn't. They just move on, and it just ends up being like Flair doing something where he's like, "I want you to be my vice president," or something. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Next up we've got Rick Steiner versus defeating Sting in a Falls Count Anywhere match. this was one of those somewhat weirdest matches, and it's also one of those ones like I'd probably say like, despite all the other matches that we had, I'd argue might be the worst match because
Yeah.
it's one of those ones like they fight in the ring for a bit, then go backstage, and then there's this whole dog segment thing happen which you could tell is obviously pre-taped. It's like
Yes.
like some people have noticed like Sting's face paint changes and everything. Like they don't have any continuity. Then they drag Sting out like and then the Steiner said, "Oh yeah, the ref said rerun the match like without any proofs." Like it's too graphic to show.
No, again, another one that you can't make sense out of. It's stupid. Yeah, they start having like, and it's funny. Steiner and Sting are having like a decent little brawl to start out. Like it's not bad. They're brawling around ringside. It's okay. It's got a little heat. There was a funny bit where Sting puts Rick Steiner in the Scorpion Deathlock, and immediately the crowd stands up and looks to the rampway looking for the interference, looking to see who's going to come down the ramp, even though nobody did at the point. But they've been so trained to look for the terrible finish that they immediately stood up and started looking for it. But yeah, they go to the back. They open the curtain. Tank Abbott's there because if you remember, Tank Abbott was around here around this time. He was just as bad. And yeah, they do this dog attack thing, which is so stupid. They claim that Sting was mauled by like 3 dogs, which we don't see. It's off screen. They cut away from it, and they just go, "Oh, it was too horrific for us to look at. We cut away. Thank God we cut away." And then they just come back out and they drag Mickey J out and just say, "Oh, you saw him? He got pinned, right? Yeah, that's right. We pinned Sting. Okay, yeah, we're the winner. Ding, ding, ding." Like it makes no sense. It's stupid. It doesn't go anywhere. No, it's all bad. Again, this is really, really stupid.
Yeah. Then, from what I argue is the worst match, I think it's
best match of the show. Yeah, easily,
because,
easily, yes.
But once again, I think the announcers coined this the name Jersey Triad for DDP.
The Jersey Triad, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Canyon, DDP, and Bam Bam when they first formed the Jersey Triad. This is kind of the beginning of it, yeah.
And then they defeated Chris Benoit and Perry Sanders for the tag team titles. I mean, and I'd said this to Austin, like in the chat. I was surprised to see that this match was even on there. Was like what I knew about WWE is they're trying to erase Benoit, but as Austin said, like they've kept his matches, they just don't promote.
No, yeah, they'll never say his name, and like how they have the thumbnail on the network, and it'll say like the people who were involved or some of the matches. They just don't promote his matches, or they don't put like his picture in the thumbnail. But they don't edit off his matches. Like his matches are on there. They haven't gone that far. But yeah, no, this is easily the best match on the show. You have 4 really good workers. You have Benoit, Saturn, Canyon, and DDP. They're all good workers. Even if you had Bam Bam instead of Canyon or something, like still would have been good. He's a good worker too. But yeah, it's very similar to the earlier tag match, just like add 10 minutes to it. Like the other one was like 10 minutes, this was like 20 minutes. So it went pretty long. The heat on Benoit was really long, and then again they kind of did a double heat, double hot tag, because eventually Perry Saturn got like the ultimate kind of hot tag. But yeah, they're beating up Benoit forever, like just beating him. Canyon was doing all of his wacky new moves. He did like a Fameasser from the second rope. It was weird. Like he was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Bam Bam's interfering, on the outside and whatnot. And then it's this whole thing where Dean Malenko comes out to like check on Saturn, and the referee is so distracted with him that he doesn't see Bam Bam, or he doesn't feel 350-pound Bam Bam getting in the ring and doing the assisted diamond cutter, to Benoit. So yeah, they do that. Slides back out, they pin him, and they win the titles. So yeah, more interference to add on top of all the other interference. Yeah. But at least like the work rate was good. And like, the actual work in the match was good. You could tell the crowd was at least kind of happy to see like a good match at least. And it was,
it's one of those other. And I mean, I don't know a lot about Benoit. I'll probably when we get around to some of his other pay-per-views, I'll probably see more of his matches. But like, he's actually a good wrestler. Like, so it's a shame like he had to go and do the stupid shit that he did.
No, because he's like, and I made this clear, like, I'm not a fan of what he did or the person, but Benoit was and kind of still is my favorite wrestler, like just to watch,
Yeah.
because he could have a good match with anybody. Even like the squash match. I just watched a squash match today. I was at the gym with Lodi of Lenny and Lodi, and he just beat the hell out of him for 4 minutes. It was really entertaining. No, he's a really good worker. Saturn was a good worker. They wasted him in WWE with the moppy gimmick and all the stupid stuff. But like DDP's a good worker. Kenny's a good worker. Like, yeah, it's just a shame. Like, yeah, what happened ultimately, but yeah, around this time he was still really, really good. And yeah, this was easily the best match on the show, like by miles. This was the best match on the show. Yeah.
I mean, it should have been the main event.
Probably.
Which we're going to get to now is Kevin Nash defeating Randy Savage by DQ.
A DQ in the main event, a disqualification in the main event. Big surprise.
Yeah, what is this, Roman Reigns match?
Yeah, that's right. Jeez.
But after Sid Vicious attacks Kevin Nash, and but yeah, it's just like once again, as the theme of the show, like the match was like, I mean, it started off being somewhat fine, but then it's like the DQ kind of ruined it, and like it's like I think it was even pretty short from the main event too. Like,
well, I think that it seems like they got their match cut. It seems like the tag match previously went a little too long, because that match went 20 minutes. I was surprised how long that one went. And this one only goes like 7. Yeah, because there's a real distinct point where Macho Man, like they're on the outside, and then he like rolls Nash in, and he immediately goes up to the top and goes for the elbow, like immediately. And I was just like, whoa, that's out of nowhere. He just is going for the elbow drop, like right there. But yeah, it's funny. So they're doing this angle where they say that Nash is like hurt because the white Hummer smashed into his limo, right, and hurt him really bad. By the way, they never revealed for like a year who the driver of the Hummer was. By the way, it eventually ended up being Kidman, which makes no sense. But originally it was supposed to be Carmen Electra. I shit you not. Carmen Electra was going to be the driver. It makes no sense. Yes, that Carmen Electra. Yes, pseudo movie star model. Yes. But anyways, so they're saying, the announcers are going, oh, Nash is so hurt it's going to affect his mobility and his doing moves. He goes in there and does the same 6 moves he does in every single match, and he does them just fine. He's doing the sidewalk slam. He's doing the elbows in the corner. He's doing the knees in the corner. He's doing the snake eyes. He's doing he's doing the same moves he does in everything. It doesn't seem to be affecting him one bit. He's not selling like his leg at all. And then there's 3 girls out there. There's Medusa and this Miss Madness chick and like Gorgeous Georgia out there. They're jumping all over Kevin Nash. It's not a DQ. Like literally one of them does a missile dropkick to his gut. Not a DQ. They're doing all this stuff, but eventually Sid Vicious comes out, makes his return to WCW. Ever since first time being back in WCW since 1993, since he stabbed Arn Anderson with a pair of scissors in 1993. He's back. He comes in, boots to Kevin Nash. They call for the bell. He hits him with a power bomb. And yeah, I mean, it's another thing where like as soon as Savage drops the elbow, if you watch, the fans again immediately stand up, turn to the rampway, and start looking to see who's going to interfere. And sure enough, right on cue, here comes Sid Vicious for the DQ. And just like every other thing, they're just done with it. And I was done with it. I was like, are you kidding me, dude? Like a stupid DQ to end this thing just to debut Sid. Like, so it's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that struck me about the whole pay-per-view is like each match was like around 10 minutes or less, with the exception of the tag match. But yet, like the show itself was like 2 hours, because I think mostly because the announcers have been treated like doing their long kind of match hyping up all the videos, and it was just interesting. But also, if you had to give a rating to the entire whole pay-per-view,
oh god, like what, out of 10 or something? Like what are we doing?
Out of 5.
Out of 5, oh god, it's a 1 out of 5. Like very easily a 1 out of 5. Like, and I'm only giving the 1 point for the tag team title match, for the Benoit Saturn match, and a little bit to the West Texas Rednecks, Ray and Conan match. But even then, even that match was like a Nitro match. It wasn't anything special. Every other match on here was bad, had interference, had bad finishes, had finishes that made no sense. There was like the Hammer match is terrible, the Cat match is terrible. This is a pretty indicative of like what they're going through at the time. I think Nash was booking at this time, like, and I think Bischoff was still there, but even in character, he's openly bearing the product for being as bad as it is. So you could kind of understand why they would bring in Russo in a couple of months in October, to at least like change things a little bit. Obviously, it would not really change for the better, but it would change. But yeah, they were kind of flailing around this time, and it's really unfortunate because they had a roster, Malcolm, I swear to God, of 400 contracted wrestlers at this time, and you're putting Hammer and Mikey Whipwreck and Horace on your pay-per-view. Shame on you, WCW. There's a reason this company went out of business, and that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. So that's this week quicker I kind of thought it was just. So I thought of a fun game to find. Like, obviously, I won't be doing this all pay-per-view. I think it depends on the pay-per-view, but if you could go back in time and change the booking decision of one match, which one would you pick?
Of one match on this whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh God, there's nothing that could save this show. But I would at least have a finish in the Nash Savage match. Like, either have Savage win the title and like change things up a little bit, or just have Nash flat out beat him and then have Sid come out after the match, and do that. Like, there's no reason why you had to have a DQ here. Like, somebody could have won. But yeah, there's nothing really like booking wise that would save this thing. Like, you just needed better matches and better wrestling. Just a better show. Like, there's not much you can do with this card that they put together. It's just not good.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, the one I would change is like have something that kind of makes sense in the Ric Flair Roddy Piper match. Like,
yeah.
But for that, it's time to spin the wheel for the next episode next week. And as you can see, it's just as much of a blob as the real movies, but it's still.
I would say there's a lot of pay-per-views, so I don't know how you loaded all these in there, Malcolm, or do you just do it by year and stuff and promotion?
No, I've got them all there. Like, it's 650 from that.
Oh, jeez.
I went through a list of all the pay-per-views, made the list before preparing this. Then I cross-checked if it was available on WWE Network because just so I can watch it. But the wheel is spinning. And it is going to be we're staying in WCW. It's WCW Beach Blast 1992.
Oh, Beach Blast 92 is not a bad show, actually. That's a good show. Beach Blast 92, I believe, has a Sting and Cactus Jack sort of tag team Falls Count Anywhere match is pretty good. I think it has Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and somebody. Like, I think Beach Blast 92 is actually a decent show from what I remember. I almost picked it for Lonely Marks for this upcoming week. I think it's actually a decent show. So that's a good show.
But with that is the end of this. Austin, if to get back, is there any pay-per-view that I'd like to get you back for if you could pick one?
I just look, if you ever need somebody to review horrible Russo shows, like, I'll do it just willingly because nobody else will. Like, I'll do it. ECW I'm big on, so if you ever spin a little ECW or something like that, I'm fine with that. But I don't need priority over anybody. But if nobody else will watch the infamously bad shows, I'll do it for you, Malcolm. So keep that in mind.
But that Austin, where can people find you online?
Yeah, no, a couple different places. Movie Hero Network. I co-host a lot of stuff over there, so you can check us out just at the Movie Hero Network. Since we're talking wrestling tonight, I put our wrestling show down underneath my name here. We have a new channel for the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast, which you can find myself, Richie, JPO, and Jacob Barber over there. We go every week about 10 o'clock Eastern every Thursday night. We talk wrestling. We're doing a retro show too. We're going to talk Bash of the Beach 97. So we're going to get back into like kind of good WCW, which is what we're talking about, as well as we're going to do some Forbidden Door predictions. So we cover all the news and latest stuff and do drafts, things like that. So you can search that on YouTube, Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast. We have a new channel for that. So now, man, thanks for having me for the debut episode. I wish it would have been a better show, but it is what it is. It's fine.
I mean, as they say, sometimes you got to start from the bottom and work your way.
You can only get better, or can it? I mean, well, you spun a show that I'm pretty sure, if I recall, is much, much better. So I think you'll have a better time next week.
And one of the things that as we start getting more episodes down the line, I'll probably start putting graphics at the end, showing my rankings of the pay-per-views as we get sort of more on a list. So you can see sort of how my rankings are changing, evolving over the.
I would say, I don't think you said what you would have given it out of 5.
I thought it did, but it would have been a 1 out of star, just for one out of 5, just for the same reasons as Dude. There really wasn't much positive about this.
Nope.
But with that, you can find me on Take 3 Productions, or host Rankin every week. Next week is going to be top 12 opening scenes of 2000s movies. You can also find me here doing Spear from the Past. I'm looking at doing every week. I may change to every 2 weeks, depending on schedules and all that. But you can also sort of find me doing trivia over for Metal. Also, we'll have a match coming up at some stage. I'm still gonna make the group chat and see everything up for that. But yeah, that is the end of here. I don't really have an outro, so I'm just gonna play this.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.